by the mid-teens, they should be so capable and competent and confident.
We are unconsciously sabotaging our own success.
We're questioning it. So let's see what works and what doesn't.
If your children will only become capable and contributing if you kick them out, you've already failed.
It's a parenting problem.
It's a game changer, honestly. It really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Extraordinary Family Life Podcast. We're your hosts, Greg and Rachel Denning. Okay, so a few weeks ago, we posted about how, this whole idea, this kind of arbitrary idea of having your kids move out at 18, which is a very American idea. We're going to share our approach today is like they're going to be capable, competent, independent, mature. They're going to do all the growing up, but it doesn't require that they move out at this and separate. Yes, that they separate at some arbitrary age.
Yeah. If your children will only become hardworking, competent, capable, and contributing if you kick them out, you've already failed as a parent because they should already be doing those things. Like
that's what
successful parenting to me is your children are already doing those things and are such great human beings that one, you wouldn't need to kick them out. And two, you don't want to because you enjoy being around them so much and they're so helpful. They're so grateful. They're so useful. They're so capable. You don't want them to leave.
You want to be with them. They want to be with you.
Yeah.
But at any moment, they could walk out the door and thrive.
Yeah. Exactly. That is the ideal. And that I think is what we want to help reframe. I mean, the reason we're doing this podcast, the reason I did this reel, in fact, I posted it a couple times. I want to spread this idea because I know for me, it's in a way been revolutionary and it resonates with me because I'm like, well, yeah, that's how it used to be. That's how it should be. Families are meant to
be generational.
Multi-generational, intergenerational, not, here, you go start your family over here and you start your family over here and we all live separated. That it's not meant to be that way.
Right. So the whole idea of the nuclear family, especially in the U.S., really started in the 40s, 50s, 60s. So by the time we were born in the late 70s, it was already ingrained in society. It was social expectations. So we grew up, as a kid, or you don't even question it. You don't think to question it. You don't think, why are we do this? It's like, this is just the way things are done.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time we're raising our kids, like, 18, on you go. Never going, wait a minute, where does this arbitrary number come from?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that even a thing? Does it happen in other cultures? Has it happened throughout time? What are the pros and cons of it all? We just no thinking. It's like, we'll roll along, we'll keep parroting, and that's what's happening.
And even though, because we started traveling when our oldest daughter was 4, and we had 4 kids under the age of 4, and we started to see some of this in other cultures, that they continued to live together intergenerationally. They weren't moving out at 18. In fact, they were living there till they were 20 or 30 or even longer sometimes, or forever. They spent their whole life with their family.
I often assume, though, that was out of desperation and poverty.
Well, and I think that's how we did think about it. Because we thought, they're in a developing country, so they do that because they have to. Yeah. And so that was part of our thinking. So even though we were seeing it, we still didn't totally connect the dots of like, wait a second. Why does America do it differently? And why do we have this assumption that if your child doesn't move out at 18 and can't handle living on their own and being whatever, like all these things, that somehow now they failed to launch and you failed to prepare them? Like that's the way we thought about it. And so now we're saying, well, wait a second. No, that's a faulty idea. That's the idea that's wrong, because even simple things like the fact that the prefrontal cortex isn't fully developed until the age of 25. Like adulthood doesn't automatically begin at 18, and they shouldn't automatically now be ready to handle everything that life throws at them simply because they are 18. Right. And in fact, that we want to talk about in this episode is that they're going to be even more prepared if they have a longer amount of time at home with you to be a part of this critical young adult phase when you can help them and guide them as they make very important decisions, as they learn how to handle challenges at a new level, right? The adult skills challenges. you're there to guide and help them through this process rather than requiring them to figure it out all on their own because they moved out.
Yeah. And so really, if you're looking at maybe 10 to 25 is this stage of education, development, skill development, growth. And if we see it as that, it's like, no, and it just intensifies. It keeps increasing in intensity. They hit 15 and they hit 18, they hit 20. It's like, it just keeps increasing where they are really, truly, deeply digging into a world-class education, like the books, the academics, just really deep, powerful education and skill
Developing
development.
skills
Yeah.
for
life and for career and
Yeah.
occupation. Yeah.
Well,
So, and if we are supporting that, so instead of saying 18, you're on your own, it's like, no, man, 16 to 25, I'm going to support them in like pursuing all these really good things, experiences, classes, courses, training, apprenticeship, like all of this stuff that's going to help them be extremely valuable in the marketplace and in society and in family.
Yeah. Well, and this is kind of a little side note, but I found it very fascinating because I'm pursuing my bachelor's in psychology, and I was taking my psychology class. And I've heard of Erik Erikson, and I'm familiar with his stuff. But what was really interesting to me is because he's done all the stages of development, which for me, I was mostly familiar with the stages of childhood up to young adulthood. But then when I was reading through this, he also classifies the stages of adulthood as well. And he considers young adulthood to be up to the age of 40, which I thought was really interesting.
Well, because he says around 40 is when you really start contributing.
Yes.
So in this process of life development and stages of life, it's after 40, you really start contributing, because before that, you're gaining education, experience, and exposure to have something to contribute.
Yeah.
Hey there, this is Greg Denning. We want to reach as many people as possible and help as many families as possible with these conversations. And we want to keep this podcast ad-free forever. You can help us do that by subscribing on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen, your favorite platform, and on YouTube. And leave a quick review and share your favorite episodes with friends and family. It makes a big difference. Thank you for being a part of this very important movement.
Yes, exactly. So I thought that was really interesting, because imagine if we totally reframed things and we thought, oh, you're not a full contributing adult until 40. Like, how would that alter our relationships with our families? You know what I'm saying? Like, as mature adults in our 40s and 50s, we would still be fully engaged in the process of mentoring our children through their young adulthood, because we realize how crucial it is to setting them up to contributing in their later years. I mean, it could totally, like you just expand the vision of your role as a parent, where I feel nowadays so many parents feel like 18, I'm done.
Right.
And it's like they never think about parenting their child after the age of 18.
Yeah.
So you're done somehow.
And that's part of the psyop, right? Because it's the nuclear family, it's dividing, it's separating. It's like, I can wash my hands now, I'm done. I did the bare minimum. My kids survived till 18. Now you're out.
Now you figured out on your own.
And then I can just do what I want. It's like, what a dumb idea. There's no generational family there. It's like, procreated, I fed them and cleaned up after them for 18 years, and then get out of my life. You're annoying me. This is messed up. So now, I know a lot of you listening and a lot of people commented like, no, that's a dumb idea. Moving out's the best thing ever. I moved out. I know people who moved out. That's so good, whatever. And America's the best way. I just want you to pause and realize that, hands down, the United States is one of the most ill, diseased, broken societies on the planet. But if we don't travel extensively and have experience outside of it and study history, you just think, oh, this is a human experience. The widespread mental illness is a human experience. No, it's not. It's a cultural, it's a societal experience. The mental illness, the emotional illness that's being experienced right now in the US is not widespread. It's not worldwide. We get so blinded by the idea we grow up in that you just go look for confirmation bias. You're looking everywhere. You just like start questioning it, start saying, well, wait a minute, let's see what's actually there, what works and what doesn't. Now, obviously, this isn't fail proof. It isn't for every family. if parents are dysfunctional, like that's where I'm like, yeah, the kids should move out.
Well, okay, so let's read a couple of these comments. Because one of them was like, I'm going to have to think about this because it wouldn't work for every child, ... gamers. I agree with you. This wouldn't work for a gaming child, but kind of
So
going
wait,
back to what I
pause.
told
So they're
earlier.
looking at the strategy of like, let your kids stay longer and think that strategy won't work because I have a gamer, and we want to kind of
challenge that by saying, if you have a gamer, in my mind, if I have a gamer, I've already failed at parenting.
Yeah.
So it's not the strategy that doesn't work. It's the fact that I raised a gamer. And you might say, well, no, it's not my fault. And I'm going to say, yeah, it is, because you're the parent. If you've allowed your child to become a gamer, then that is a failure in my mind. Now, we all fail at things. That's okay. It's not a problem. We just then have to resolve it somehow.
Right,
We have
exactly.
to fix it. It's more difficult when they're older, but it's possible. And yes, I would agree that if your child is already, say, 18, is in gaming, yep, I guess maybe they do need to go.
So to reframe it, it's not that the strategy won't work because I have a gamer. It's like, well, your parenting strategy is not working, and that's why this won't work either.
That's why you have gaming.
Yeah, and that's one thing I wanted to make is that in all these comments that came in, many of them were just revealing. They were self-revelatory.
Yeah.
So the parents like, my kids can't stay because they're just lazy and they don't do anything. They don't help out. They don't contribute. They just want to sleep all day. So there's no way I'm doing that. What a dumb idea. And he's like, no, it's not the idea. It's your parenting strategies, your lack of parenting skills that have led to kids who don't contribute, who aren't respectful, who are sleeping in, who are taking advantage of you, who aren't helping out. It's a parenting problem, not an idea or philosophical problem.
And again, this is not meant to attack parents or make them feel bad or guilty, because the analogy we love to use is that if we told you you suck at tennis, that's not because we think you're a bad person. It just means you don't have good tennis skills. And parenting, just like tennis, is a skill that you learn. And so if you don't have good parenting skills because you've never taken parenting lessons, shocking, they don't exist, that doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you.
Right.
You just haven't taken the lessons and you haven't practiced so that you have the parenting skills, just like as if you don't have tennis skills because you didn't take tennis lessons and didn't practice. Same thing.
So important.
So it's just bringing up a point. Oh, you obviously lack parenting skills because you haven't learned them or practiced them. That's all we're saying.
Right. And one of those that comes up all the time that I hear so frequently, and I've been hearing this for decades, is these parents are like, oh, I can't wait till my kid turns 18 so I get out of this house. And their relationship with him was so bad, so dysfunctional. The way, the behavior, the dynamics, and the family culture was so bad. Those parents would have joyfully kicked their kids out at 14, 15, 16, 17, but it's illegal.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's another reason 18 is because that's when it's legal. There, for whatever reason, certain countries have said, okay, 18 is the legal age of an adult. And so parents are just waiting until it's legal to kick their kids out.
Right.
Otherwise, they would have done it before. But again, has nothing to do with the age or legality or anything. It's like, no, you're failing
the relationship.
To have the relationship you want and be the caliber of parent your kids need you to be.
Right. Exactly. So then the real problem comes back to the lack of skills as opposed to
the strategy.
Whole idea of launching, right?
Exactly.
So, okay, like this comment says, disagree. It's called failure to launch and enabling your kid to live off the parents and to not make their mark in the world. Well, this is exactly revealing this concept we've been talking about, that we have been trained as a society to believe this, that if your child does not move out at 18, then you're enabling them, they're living off of you, and they can't make their mark in the world, and they failed to launch. And we're saying, we used to believe that in many ways. And now we're saying that is wrong. And
we still do. And still, we have multiple podcast episodes. We talk about failure to launch all the time. But failure to launch has literally nothing to do with the age 18. Yes. It has to do with the cultivated and developed ability to be self-reliant and contribute.
To be more mature, to be more independent.
Right.
And independence begins happening from the very
Like adolescence.
No, I'm talking about real independence starts. It's happening the entire childhood.
Right.
Like when they stop nursing, and then when they stop, being held, and then when they are walking and crawling, like all of that is a form
Right.
of developing independence.
Right.
So it's ongoing. And so the independence should be continuing even in, 18, 19, 20. That is, of course, the
Right.
goal.
Exactly.
We're not talking, again, about having baby children that never grow up. The independence is happening, but it doesn't mean it has to happen by them being separated from you.
Right.
That is what we're emphasizing, that's a false idea. So we need to, and I think, and I'm saying this because I really strongly believe this, we need to get rid of this idea. We should not be requiring or expecting our children to move out at 18. But the other side of that coin is we need to be teaching them the skills that we think they would be learning when they move out. We need to be
long before 18.
Long before 18.
Yeah.
Like they should be learning these basic things when they are 14, 15, 16, 17. And
so I guess, and here's part of this where the skill and strategy comes in, is parents, often moms, are doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the laundry, all the shopping, everything for their kids until they're 18. And finally she's like, I'm exhausted. I'm done. You leave now.
So
it's
I
like,
don't
well,
have to do it
there's your problem.
Right.
I mean, starting at 10, 11, 12, your children should be doing the dishes. They should be preparing meals. They should
doing their own
help
laundry.
with shopping.
I mean, my
100% should be doing the laundry.
washes her own laundry.
They should all be doing that so that the cultivation of life skills is already there.
Yeah.
I guess I got to reemphasize this. We fail as parents if we are not deliberately, proactively, and consistently teaching and training our kids in life skills from a very early age, so that by the mid-teens, they already should be so capable and competent and confident.
And grateful.
Yeah.
And
great attitudes.
Yeah.
Contributing, carrying their weight. They're not sitting around entertaining themselves. They're not whining, crying, complaining. They're not screaming at you that you should pick up their dirty socks and do their laundry and go get them things. Like, that's just an epic failure in parenting.
Exactly. There was, so one of the other comments that we did get quite a few of, because this specific reel got like over 3 million views and we had hundreds and hundreds of comments. But one reoccurring theme was people saying, I moved out at 18 because I, like this one, to get away from my abusive parents and to stop being forced to be their personal maid. So we also want to emphasize that this is not another aspect of it. We're not preaching or teaching. And especially when we talk about how helpful our children are and they're doing all these things, well, it's not because they're forced to do them either. They are taught, encouraged, praised, sometimes even paid for doing these things that they're doing, right?
And they do it joyfully because they want to help out.
They do it because they feel, maybe joyfully isn't always the right word, but willingly. They do it willingly. Ultimately, what we're trying to say is we need to be teaching and raising our kids long before 18 to recognize the importance of contributing to the family and beginning to participate in contributing to the family, so that we don't have to worry about them being 18 and on one side being a slave, so they want to leave, and on the other side being so lazy and entitled
that you want them to leave.
Exactly right. We don't want either scenario. We want the happy middle ground where they are contributing, they are competent, they're willing, and you enjoy being around them and you don't want them to leave because they're such great people. That's the magic space, at least for me.
I love it. So I actually started working, I know this sounds crazy. I started working with teens when I was a teen. I was going down the Boys and Girls Club. I was helping out because I was struggling. I was out on my own. It was hard, and I wanted to give back, and I wanted to share what I was learning, or at least offer some help. So I've been involved in that space, and it's amazing to keep kind of have your finger on the pulse for the last 30 years, literally, and to see what works and what doesn't. And I've seen it. I've seen it all. I still work with teens every week, and it's awesome. And even since then, I hear people talk so negatively about the teen years and adolescence, and oh, they're starting puberty, and oh, so terrible. It's actually amazing, and teens they're fun and energetic, and they're just experiencing all the ups and downs and crazies of life, the triumphs and the tragedies, and they're feeling it all, and they get all fired up and passionate about things, and sometimes they get excited and interested in the wrong things and then the right things, and they're all over there just trying to figure out who their identity is. It's really awesome. It really is powerful, and they're amazing. The problem is, as a whole, parents are missing the opportunity, and they're viewing it wrong. They're showing up in the wrong way. And so they're creating a lot of the problems. But then you talk to everybody, the common thing is like, oh, it's just the teen years. That's just, oh, it's hormones and it's just attitudes and oh, that's just the way it is. No, it isn't. It's common because it's so frequently being done wrong. But with the right tools and strategies, the right systems, it's actually incredible. So enjoyable and fun. And so we've in our family of 7 children, we've had 5 teens so far, and it's been amazing. It has been absolutely amazing. And working with teens has been amazing. So like it's all there. You just have to have the techniques and the proven practices and principles, which I'll throw this in there. Rachel and I created this phenomenal parenting program. We call it the Extraordinary Parent Mentoring Method. And it comes with coaching too. And we're just releasing now this new cohort for adolescents. So it's
parents of adolescents.
So the parents of adolescents, right? So it's just preparing for the people call the tween years. This is when you're starting puberty and adolescence and the teens. And it's all about like the way it turns out for the teen and for the entire family dynamic and culture and even legacy, I would say, is how we prepare for and how we handle those years. And those are brief years and they fly by. They're pretty intense and they go so fast, but it's worth every single effort. It is literally worth every single effort to prepare for and perform well during those years.
Well, and then going back to the analogy I was using before, the parenting skills really are learnable. There's something you can gain just like you can gain tennis skills or piano skills or cooking skills
that you can apply immediately.
Absolutely.
Like I love you're saying that. It's like today you're like, hey, do this. I can do that today and
right.
do it today and do it every day. And like, oh, that just changed our dynamics.
Exactly. Right. So it really doesn't, because so many people tell me these things of like, well, it's just so complicated and it's just so difficult. And yes, I realize that is true, but it also can be less complicated and it can be less difficult when you have the right skills. It's like cooking, and this is actually a really good analogy for me because years ago, you and I, we lived in the Dominican Republic back when our children were small, and we literally lived in this little house in a coconut grove. We had no internet. We had no connection to the outside world. We had no cookbooks. We had nothing. And
no grocery stores.
Yeah, no grocery stores. That to me is the time when I actually learned how to cook for real because I learned the principles behind the ideas of cooking. But instead of simply just following a recipe. Now, the point I want to make with parenting, though, is that having both is the ideal. It's great to have a recipe. But when you also learn the principles behind what makes a recipe work, that's when you actually produce the magic. So we want to have both. We want to have parenting recipes, but we also want to have the parenting principles because that's the magic right there. And so I think ultimately, that's what we're teaching in the parenting course and in our coaching, which we meet every single week, every Wednesday. So this Wednesday, we're going to meet again live to discuss this and learn how to gain the parenting skills because that really does make the difference.
Yes.
It's a game changer. Honestly, it really is.
And the same is true with parenting. Some of us, like our parents or our grandparents, were doing something wrong. We didn't know it was wrong. We didn't know it was ineffective. It just got passed down. And so unconsciously, you was done to you. So you grow up and you do it to your kids. And you get the same crap result. It's like horrible food. You could cook that, right? You could like add some ingredients. You could turn down the temperature or turn up the temperature. You don't have to just use potatoes and flour. Like there's so much out there, but we don't know what we don't know.
We're doing these things where we are unconsciously sabotaging our own success. We're creating the terrible teens. We're creating the terrible twos, and we don't know it because we just think, well, that's how it's always been done. That's how my mom did it. That's how my grandma did it.
That's just the nature of teenagers. Right. So again, let's just wrap up on this vision, this dream, this ideal of your teens before 18 are competent, they're capable, they're confident, they have great attitudes, they're self-leaders, they're going to bed, they're getting up, they're leading their own education, they're helping out a ton, like they're leading their lives already as teens. So if they needed to move out at 16 or 17 or 18, easy. They could do it and thrive. But they don't need to because they're going to keep working on their education and keep developing their skills so that they are ready for marriage or to start a business, be entrepreneurs, or to contribute in society.
Serve a mission or to go to college or whatever it is they choose to pursue.
Or join the family business, like all that stuff, because we're trying to create a phenomenal family legacy and generational wealth and generational education.
We didn't touch on it enough, like the reasons why you don't want this to happen, meaning AKA they move out. Part of the reason, we touched on it a little bit, like part of the reason is you can continue mentoring them through these phases, and that's very useful. But the other key is that it helps them build financial stability. It also continues to contribute to the family wealth, because part of the whole idea behind the PSYOP is if your children move out when they're 18, that benefits big business, that benefits other companies, because now instead of them paying rent to you or you consolidating all the rent and expenses in one household, they have their own household expenses and their own rent and their own insurance. So other companies are getting more money, and rather than keeping it within the family, besides the fact that if you do really want to build generational wealth, and one of the comments I did receive, they were like, building the family legacy, haha, so funny. I'm like, no, you're missing it.
Yeah.
You do need to be building a family legacy.
A great one.
You do need to be
one.
building generational wealth. Your family, your children should now contribute to your real estate portfolio, right? Like they should be helping you. One idea I've
they
seen,
become a part of it. Like,
yeah. One other idea I've seen, that we have friends that do this, is that when their children do move out, they actually buy a house in wherever their children are going to be living that they now own, which becomes a part of the family real estate portfolio. And that's where their child lives. If they can pay for it, great. If they can pay part of it, great. But ultimately, it's contributing to the family legacy and the family wealth, as opposed to they're just paying rent to some random person, right?
That other guy
knows.
benefits, or the government benefits, whatever else.
So
exactly.
It's totally reframing all of this of like, oh yeah, wait a second. How do we as a family keep more of our own money? So it goes to us instead of going to other places. In our case, with our business, it's beneficial. And anyone that owns a business, it's way more beneficial to pay your family members for work for you than it is to pay someone else or to just spend it somewhere else. Like that's a tax write-off. Like there's so many financial benefits.
And you get
like there's a whole strategy for that.
And you get to teach your kids business strategy,
yes,
and all the business skills, and they get to earn, not just a free gift, they get to earn equity in a real estate or a business or whatever. Like you're setting
our
them
son
up.
is right now, like he's literally doing the projects and the handyman jobs here at our resort, right? We've got 13 acres. We have, I don't even know the square
A big
footage.
old
It's
building.
huge. He's literally putting sweat equity into this.
Right. And he loves it because he's learning new skills
Well, and
every day.
he's that kind of guy. He's a hands-on kind of guy. He
Yeah.
loves building, fixing, doing all that. So,
Well, and our daughter's investing in it too. And it's,
yeah.
anyways, it's awesome. So is it for everybody? No. Is it for dysfunctional families? Nope. You know, if I were a young adult right now or a youth and I was in a family that was really, really unhealthy and I'd be like, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out of
And
here.
that's a good course.
But if I'm a parent and like, oh, the kids aren't ready for this, I'm not going to look at the strategy and say that strategy doesn't work. I'm going to look at my parenting and say my parenting isn't producing the child who can fit like this to create this ideal. So I'm going to make adjustments in my parenting strategies. Yeah. And so we have a phenomenal relationship. So even if your kid decides, yeah, I do want to go out to college or in military or whatever your kid wants to pursue and do, great. The relationship should be absolutely phenomenal. And the pursuit of education should continue. I think we haven't even touched on this, but I'll finish with it. That's one thing that kills me is because these kids are moving out at 18 and they have to start working or doing all this other stuff, they're not getting a world-class education. And I know this is going to hit some people, even if they're going to college. People think, well, they're going to college, they're getting an education. No.
In fact, Dr. Amen, who is a brain specialist, he talks about how horrible college is on a teenage brain, a young adult's brain, because one, they're not sleeping, they're staying up late, they're often drinking, they're partying,
eating garbage.
They're stressed out of their minds. He said college, he literally has said things like college should not be a thing that young adults do
for that adolescent
so
brain development.
For the brain.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not working. It's not creating the end result we want. Whereas if we can support and encourage our children who are leading themselves and leading their lives, they're going to get better sleep. They're going to eat better. They're going to get better education. They're going to get better skill development. They're just going to be so much better off. And because we have a great relationship, all of us are so much better off.
And we're happier.
Yeah.
We're happier when we're together. And this is a real thing. It's not some pie in the sky. We are literally so happy spending time with all of our children, but I would say especially our young adult children. Now, we do currently have 2 young adults who are out. Our oldest is married, so she's with her husband. And then we have a son who's serving a mission for our church. And we miss him.
In a foreign country, speaking a different language. Yeah. So it's Spanish. Fantastic.
And it's a great experience for both of them. And we're so happy for them. And they are thoroughly enjoying what they're doing. But we miss them. We miss them a lot. And we love spending time with our other 2 young adult children who are still at home. And we all just, it just makes us so happy. I don't know how to talk about how happy we are just being together. And I love, and I think part of the reason I love it so much is that because I moved out at 18, again, I was a rebellious child. My dad was controlling. And so we didn't have that. I never experienced this myself, but I love seeing my kids want to hang out with me every day. Like my son, who's 20, and my daughter too, but especially him, he's so intentional about okay, it's lunchtime, let's go have lunch together. He wants to make sure we're doing it together, right? And so we're doing our separate activities, but then he wants to coordinate, hey, let's eat lunch together. Let's have dinner together. He wants to have that together time. And then it's okay, it's the weekend, let's do something together. They want to be with us and they want to spend time with us. And I just find that so heartwarming.
Well, this is awesome. We love it too. And it's important to point out, our kids aren't needy and clingy. And we aren't those never let go of our kids and never let them go anywhere or do anything. Yeah. And
these 2 are the same ones who went to Budapest by themselves, and they went to Oslo by themselves, and they flew to Serbia by themselves. They're traveling all over by themselves. Go out
and go out and have hard experiences. Yeah. And we're just sucks, deal with it. And let them experience that. So, and there's no drama. We don't have the iconic, the typical family drama and the fighting and all the garbage.
Not that we don't have disagreements or differing opinions, because we definitely do.
We encourage that.
Have strong opinions, but we work through it and we learn how to negotiate it and we learn how to laugh about it, and it doesn't become this huge, like there's no fighting.
None.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, get clear, ladies and gentlemen, get clear about your ideal. Like, spend some time really thinking about this. Like, what does it look like, your family legacy dream? And then once you are clear about what it is, now start figuring out how to build it, make it happen. And especially that means getting the knowledge and skills.
Parenting skills.
Exactly. The parenting skills to make it happen. So love you guys. Family's everything. The work we do with our families is the most important thing there is. And I mean that sincerely. It's the most important work, focus, where we put our energy, our effort.
Career.
Yeah. The mission is what it is. So lean into it, give it all your best stuff. Invest in yourself and your family to that end. Make the sacrifices so that that's at the top of the most important things you do. Love you guys. Reach upward.